Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. My name's Hannah, and on this channel I post a lot of anti-MLM content. As always, a playlist is linked right here and down below. This is my big anti-MLM playlist with every video I've ever created on the topic. Over 100 videos, super bingeable, but I also have smaller playlists broken down by type of video. If you like the Zoom calls like this one, if you like horror stories, if you like MLM top fails, those are all broken down into their individual bingeable playlists as well. What I have for you today is a Young Living team Zoom call in which the topic is surrounding how to use the products in pregnancy and postpartum. The title of this call really caught my attention in my inbox because, as you may or may not know, I'm pregnant right now. I'm expecting a baby girl in the spring, so naturally the topic of this call is very relevant to the stage of life that I'm in. I've been doing a ton of pregnancy and postpartum research and Googling and reading books and trying to gain as much information as I can just for my own personal knowledge and my personal life, and I also have an OB who's given me different documents and things like that on things that you can and cannot or should not do in your pregnancy. So I feel at least somewhat equipped to offer some kind of commentary and insight on this topic as we watch this call. I've only watched the first 15 minutes of it, and already they're making some insane and unfounded recommendations as to what kinds of things pregnant women should be doing and using in their pregnancy, and it's truly outrageous. I just kind of had to stop it there, and I was like, yep, we're doing this. Here's some background knowledge you may know before we start watching it. If you're not familiar with Young Living as a company, they are an essential oil MLM. They sell individual bottles of all kinds of different essential oils at incredibly outrageous prices. Their oil prices are easily 2 to 3 times higher than the market price of the same oil sold through non-MLM companies, but they also sell a variety of health and wellness and beauty and home products that also feature their essential oils, and they're also sold for outrageous prices. So for example, they have products like laundry detergent, hand soap, lotions, toothpaste, allergy pills, vitamins, anything under the sun pretty much. You can probably hear my cat chirping at the door. I have to have the door closed today. He cannot decide if he wants to be in or out, so I'm trying to just ignore him right now. Another piece of information that might be relevant to know is that generally the types of people that get involved with Young Living are those who have an interest in the idea of clean or natural or holistic living. Young Living as a company has really built their brand around the fear-mongering of traditional products with harmful chemicals, and their marketing relies heavily on this idea that those traditional, more reasonably priced products that you can buy at your local drugstore, those are bad, and that Young Living products are clean and pure and good. You'll see what I mean very, very quickly within this call, but that's kind of some general background knowledge that you need.
Hello, welcome to our Monday night call. So glad you're on with us tonight for one of my favorite topics. I'm going to talk about pregnancy and babies and labor and all of the good things that go along with that. If you're new here, welcome. We are so glad to have you. As you can see, we're super casual on Monday nights and on our calls. We're just here doing our thing, making it through our week. You know, we're all getting back in our Monday routine. My Mondays still feel a little like, a lot that I'm trying to pack into one day. I think I need to spread some of it out. But for those of you that do not know me, I am Courtney. I have 8 children and I'm pregnant with my 9th, who is due in anywhere between, 4 weeks or less. I have had babies from 36 weeks to 42 weeks. So I consider it a pretty general window of when the baby will arrive. I'm at 36 currently, so I'm in the window, and I'm hoping for at least 37 would be the goal. Not for 42. We're gonna not hope for that. But this will be my 9th baby, my 14th pregnancy. I have had 5 miscarriages, as well as what comes to a complete shock to people, and just had someone learn this the other day for the first time, as well as I struggled to be able to get pregnant initially the first time with my first and with my second. So that is my full range of experience. My oldest child is 18. My first pregnancy was 19 and a half years ago. And then obviously most current is today. And I have had babies in the hospital. I've been induced. I have had an epidural. I have had babies at home. I have had water births. I have had a C-section. I have had 2 VBACs since the C-section. So I pretty much can give you a little bit of a widespread viewpoint on how all of this goes. Incredibly grateful for all of the experiences, incredibly grateful for all of, the babies and just everything that has come from that, from the perspective that comes with the loss that I've experienced and the way that it allows me to treasure the ones that I do have. My sweet little C-section baby just had his 8th birthday, and I treasure that my experience with him is different. And he and I share something that I don't share with any of my other kids. He stuck a foot out of me. That was how we ended up on that little journey. I reached down and there was a foot hanging out of me. So that was a whole just different experience. Next baby after him, the VBAC, came in 30 minutes. I had 10 contractions that morning, barely got my husband awake, and no one was there but the 2 of us. And so my husband delivered him in the tub when we thought maybe he would be there in a little while. So my VBAC was a VBAC water birth, unassisted, unintentionally baby. So, just all the fun things. So I want to share with you some things we have found that have worked well for us. And then Megan is also on here tonight and has been so sweet to agree to share from her experience and share some of the things that she loves and are important to her in this journey. So thank you so much, Megan. So excited to have you on here with us. And then she said today, she was like, how many people are sharing? I was like, just you and me, because I feel like even that we're going to struggle to stay within an hour because this is a big topic. You could literally do a Zoom call like per trimester and then one for postpartum. Like you could break this up a lot to try to get it all in. So we're going to try to whip through so much information. And then we just need to come back and revisit all of this more in depth. So I'm going to let Megan start and share with you what she kind of wants to say from her perspective. And then I'm going to come in and fill in where just kind of else I want to share from mine. And then we should be good. And I'm going to leave us with some pretty practical information, some must-haves. So have your pen and paper ready for that. And just going to give you as much goodness as we can fit into our window. So Megan, you are good to go.
All right, I am here. You guys, I have my spread. Okay. First, let me just introduce myself, and thank you so much, Courtney, for letting me jump in here. This is actually my favorite topic. I love talking about this so much. So my name is Megan. I live in Colorado, and I just had my 3rd home birth in April. And just like Courtney mentioned, every single birth was wildly different. The first one, I ended up getting transferred to the hospital. My second one, my husband also delivered unassisted on our living room floor because my midwife did not make it in time. And this last one was a beautiful water birth. It was actually the most peaceful thing I could have ever experienced. So if you ever wonder if the movies are telling you that what birth looks like, do not believe that for a second. You can have a peaceful, joyful, enjoyable experience giving birth, even though those last 15 minutes will still suck no matter what. But so that's the perspective I'm coming from. But I also just want to say that regardless of where and how you give birth, this topic is just as much for you as for anyone. For people who want to do this unmedicated or natural, C-section, epidural, whatever, all of these things can apply to you too. So I just want to encourage you that all are welcome on this call. And at least I know that Courtney's heart is this too, but especially with this topic, it's to empower you to be your own best advocate and to have the best experience that you can have during pregnancy and just during a really incredible time of your life. Because it's unlike anything you will ever experience. I remember feeling just super scared for how to approach pregnancy when I became pregnant with my son, and especially labor. And now that I'm on the other side, like, let me just say again, like, it is possible to enjoy this process, and it is possible to feel good. I mean, there may or may not be moments where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm miserable, but like, the goal is to give yourself the best chance possible to feel good and to have a great experience. So that's like just the lens that I'm going to be speaking from. And pregnancy is actually what got me started with Young Living 4.5 years ago. I found out I was pregnant, and it was almost immediately just a light switch of like, I need to pay attention. Like, I actually am done not paying attention to what's in my home, what's going on in my body. And it was very overwhelming knowing what I couldn't use during pregnancy on my baby, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was just, not sure if any of you can relate. I'm sure all of you. So that's actually what got me plugged in. And yeah, I was just like very conflicted and eager to know what was in my product. So this is not to instill fear, but like, truly you should be questioning. I'm so happy you guys are on this call, because if you've seen the news lately, like, you should be questioning. It's good that you are questioning what's in your products. It's good that you are paying attention to how you can best take care of you and your baby during this time of your life.
Okay, I know that was a really long stretch of the video. That's the longest stretch we're going to go without pausing it this whole time. I just wanted to give them a chance to like get out their story, right? They always have a story. You always have to give some background context. But what I'm noticing is that we're already getting a little bit of a taste for this fear-mongering kind of thing. She said, I don't want to instill fear, but that's kind of how Young Living reps pitch, is it not? And not just Young Living reps either. Lots of MLMs do this, but they rely on people's vulnerabilities. They rely on their fears and their insecurities around certain topics, and then they pitch their product as a solution to that fear, right? She admits to getting involved with Young Living right when she got pregnant with her first child, because she feels like she needed to, quote, wake up and pay attention to what she's doing and what she's putting in and on her body. And you know what? Not a terrible idea. To an extent, I do see where she's coming from. I can relate to that kind of feeling as well. There's definitely things out there that pregnant women are universally encouraged to stay away from. And I kind of had that same wake-up call when I learned I was pregnant too. For example, some of the classic things are like, stay away from deli meat because of your risk of listeria, avoid raw eggs because of salmonella, don't clean your cat box because of toxoplasmosis. And it's not to say that you absolutely cannot do or eat these things, but they are highly discouraged due to your increased risk as a pregnant person and the proven harmful effects that that can have on your unborn baby. But here's something that I've learned, and that is that Google is kind of your enemy when it comes to these pregnancy concerns and questions, because you can Google literally anything and there will be sources that come back and say, that's not good for pregnancy, you shouldn't be doing that. Specifically when that comes to health, wellness, beauty, or fitness products. Because on the other end of that article is likely a person or a company who is looking to instill fear in you that what you're doing is bad, that the products you're using are not suitable, so that you'll shell out a bunch of money to buy their better, safer products instead. Pregnant women are huge targets for these fear-mongering campaigns, because odds are that when you become pregnant, you do kind of have that innate consciousness and awareness and concern for this unborn baby and for this new and different experience that you've never gone through before. And it's a very vulnerable time in your life. And there is this desire to want to do everything the right and healthy way. So it's not surprising in the least to hear that somebody saw her and sucked her into Young Living right when she got pregnant, when she was experiencing these vulnerable feelings, because likely the products and the business opportunity were pitched to her as the better alternative and the safer alternative than other bad things out there. And this is kind of a tricky topic to navigate, because to a certain extent, I completely understand wanting to do your own research and educate yourself on every tiny little thing and look into the ingredient lists of every product you've ever owned, because you want to do what's best for you and your baby. But I also think it's a fine line and you can take it too far. I think you can really quickly dig yourself into a hole, because no matter what you're searching out there on Google, on social media, what you're seeing from these MLM reps out there who are pitching certain products, there's always going to be information information to confirm whatever bias you have. If you Google, is deodorant bad during pregnancy? There are sources that say yes, you should not use deodorant when you're pregnant. If you Google, is cleaning my kitchen with Clorox a bad idea during pregnancy? There's going to be things that come back and say yes, and here's a safer, cleaner alternative instead. And it just kind of sets you up for this whirlwind spiral of fear and concern and overwhelm that she's kind of explaining right here. Like, crap, I have to be hyper aware, I have to switch out all my products, I have to totally revamp everything I'm using. But the best advice I've gotten and what I've chosen to follow personally is to listen to the healthcare professionals in my life during this time. That means listening to my OB, listen to those people and leave the rest. At my first appointment, my OB gave me a list of things to do and things not to do. I can call her if I have specific questions, but for the most part, I've decided to stay off of Google and to become aware of people on social media and advertising campaigns and looking a little bit more critically at the claims they're making, because at the end of the day, they have a product to sell you. And I always kind of think of it in terms of this, like, people have been having babies since the dawn of time, right? And Google and social media marketing, these things are relatively new tools. What did our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents do when they had a question or concern about their pregnancy? They likely called up the professionals in their healthcare team, followed their advice, and went on with their lives and had perfectly healthy babies. Here's a funny anecdote. I have all kinds of pregnancy apps, right? On some of these apps, they have these community tabs or forums where you can post questions and get answers and things. One day I was scrolling on here and one woman posted that she was super concerned because she ate Thai food, and she went on Google and asked Google, is Thai food safe to eat during pregnancy? And she found websites that told her no. I don't think I could have possibly rolled my eyes any harder at the thought of this. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, there's people that inhabit the country of Thailand, correct? Some of those people who live in Thailand, they get pregnant, do they not? And I'm just going out on a whim here, but I'm assuming that the people who live in Thailand who get pregnant likely eat the cuisine of their native country, Thai food. And I'm pretty sure those babies are gonna be just fine, okay? It's things like this where I'm like, dude, you gotta get off Google. You gotta get off these forums. You have to stop worrying about every single teeny tiny thing, because at some point the stress that you're putting yourself under worrying about these tiny things is going to be worse for you than if you just eat the dang Thai food or use the dang deodorant or use the dang Clorox, you know? So the point is, long-winded rant, we can already get a sense for where this call is going. She's admitting to getting sucked into Young Living right when she got pregnant and when she started being hyper aware of every little thing. And naturally, the point of this Zoom call is to pitch to us how Young Living products are that better, safer, cleaner alternative. Okay, let's continue on.
So you'll see that a lot of the products that I'm going to share tonight actually just transcend. I'm going to kind of just take you through like pregnancy, labor, and just immediate postpartum and what was helpful for me. I am going to be kind of punchy so that we can keep this as quick as possible, but hopefully you have a pen and paper on. I'm just going to share my favorites, which there's a lot of them, but I tried to narrow it down as much as possible. And like I said, there's several that transcend through every single season. So as a prenatal, so pregnancy related stuff, again, there's countless topics I can talk about, but I'm just going to focus on the things I struggled with. Prenatal, I learned very quickly that most synthetic prenatals are you're just gonna pee them right out. There's like literally no point in taking them. So I wanted to put stuff in my body that I knew was going to help me just stay healthy. So Ningxia Red, like this could actually just be a Ningxia Red call. I think Courtney can agree. If you are not drinking Ningxia Red anyways, like you need to get this in your body, but especially if you are pregnant, about to have a baby or postpartum, this absolutely needs to be in your refrigerator. It is an absolute game changer. It is so good for you and baby. It helps with so many things. I have a little one knocking on the door, so just try and ignore that.
All right, suggestion number 1, don't take a prenatal vitamin, drink Young Living Ningxia Red instead. Great, off to a solid start with this one. Her reasoning that you shouldn't take a prenatal vitamin is because she thinks you just pee them out anyway. Yes and no with this one. Yes, it is true that your body can only absorb so much of a certain nutrient before there's just no more use for it and your body does get rid of it. But no, it is not true that prenatal vitamins vitamins of all kinds are just completely useless because you take it and you pee them out. That's not how this works, ma'am. Prenatal vitamins are intended to kind of fill in the gaps and cover all of your bases of certain specific nutrients that your baby needs to grow and develop the best it can. And these are often nutrients that you can't really get from diet alone. It would be very unrealistic to do that. For example, folic acid is a huge vitamin that pregnant women need. We need at least 400 micrograms of folic acid a day because it has been proven to prevent neural tube disorders like spina bifida. This really essential vitamin is included in prenatals because it's very unlikely that any person is going to get 400 micrograms from their diet alone. So that's why you need the prenatal supplement to supplement your diet and make sure that you're getting what you really need. Another huge one is iron. We need at least 27 milligrams of iron per day because it aids in the production of hemoglobin, which prevents anemia, low birth weight, and it could prevent premature delivery. Women need twice as much iron during pregnancy versus when they're not pregnant. But again, that's a lot of iron to try and get through your food, which is why you need to take it in supplement form. According to the March of Dimes, the 6 main most important ingredients pregnant women need are folic acid, iron, calcium, vitamin D, DHA, and iodine. I'll link this article below because it does a great job of breaking down each nutrient and explaining very clearly why pregnant women need it and why their growing babies need it. Remember that our bodies are actually growing a brand new human from scratch. There's kind of building blocks you might need to help that process along and support it. And what this Young Living rep is suggesting is that you ditch the prenatal vitamins and you do Ningxia Red instead. Ningxia Red is a liquid supplement that Young Living sells, and it contains 0 folic acid, 0 iron, 0 vitamin D, 0 DHA, 0 iodine. I am 1000% convinced that if I took this ingredient list and this nutrition label to my OB today and said, hey, just so you know, I'm going to quit the prenatals, I'm going to do this instead, she would tell me that that is absolutely not a suitable alternative because it doesn't have any of the same nutrients. The two cannot be compared. The two cannot be used interchangeably like she's suggesting you do. Additionally, a 2-pack of Ningxia Red comes in at $91.71, and that's if you're a Young Living rep. That is with the discount that Young Living reps get. That breaks down to $6.11 per serving, which is going to cost you a whopping $1,710.80 over the course of your 40-week pregnancy if you choose to take it like a daily prenatal. Or, you could get your prenatal vitamins for free through your insurance or for roughly $15 to $20 at your local drugstore that actually contain the required ingredients for your growing baby. The choice is yours. The choice seems very clear to me. This is the first time I've ever heard anybody try to build a case against taking a prenatal vitamin. It's pretty universally accepted by every healthcare professional ever that that's what you need to be doing and taking. But again, people who sell for MLM companies will stop at nothing to try and get the point across that other products are bad and their products are the only ones that you should be considering buying and taking, even if it makes zero logical sense.
And I will say this, I had my first pregnancy was a non-Ningxia pregnancy. So I know the difference between both of them. And I will just tell you that my level of mental fatigue was wildly different. I was exhausted my first pregnancy. With my last 2 pregnancies, I actually felt very energized, especially in the afternoon after I had my Ningxia.
That may be her experience and that's fine, but it's also worth noting that every single woman is different and every single pregnancy that woman has is different. One of my biggest symptoms in the first trimester was this unbelievable, the best way I can describe it is just bone crushing fatigue, but not every woman experiences that. And again, not every woman will experience that with every pregnancy she has. I know lots of people who have had one really hard one or 2 really hard ones, but they've also had very smooth pregnancies with relatively no symptoms at all. But the difference in experiences to an extent is largely out of our control. It's just simply how our bodies are responding to that particular pregnancy. And I would guess that it doesn't have a whole lot to do with if you consumed Ningxia Red or not. I'm not doubting her experience that her first was a lot more difficult than her other 2, but I'm just saying that there is absolutely no way to prove that Ningxia Red was the cause of that. But the people trying to sell this product to you are always going to claim that. They're always going to report that as their experience, is this is the miracle product that flipped the switch from before and after. But please just remember that that same exact experience that she's reporting could be true for another person, regardless of if they took one single Young Living product or not.
It's also clinically shown to reduce mental stress and improve mental well-being, which if you're pregnant or have experienced it, like the hormonal changes are just insane. So anything I could do to like help my mental well-being. It's also a whole food supplement. So like that is number one reason why I use this as part of my prenatal. The second thing that I use as a prenatal is Super B. This is a wonderful source of B vitamins, especially for mood and energy. And I always I forget the word. I get confused between folate and, okay, this has folate in it. So, well, it also says folic acid. I don't know. Courtney, I'm going to let you, you talk about that one. But this is pretty much primarily where I get that from.
Folate is when that nutrient comes from whole foods, and folic acid is when it comes from a synthetic supplement or processed foods. I'm happy to see that she's also taking the Super B supplement, so she is getting some folate after all. But here's the nutrition facts for the Super B. It does have 400 micrograms of folic acid, so that's really relieving. And it does have 11% of your daily value of calcium, but it doesn't have any of those other 4 essential nutrients that you need and that are often recommended. So even this supplement in combination with Ningxia Red, that's still not giving her all the nutrients that her body needs to support this growing baby, and that's pretty concerning. The Super B pills come in a 30-day supply for $22.75, and that's going to cost you $212 over the course of a 40-week pregnancy if you take it like a daily prenatal. And speaking of peeing out the excess nutrients, this pill gives you 2,000% the daily value of thiamine, nearly 2,000% the daily value of riboflavin, and 4,000% the daily value of vitamin B12. I'm sorry, ma'am, but if you are worried about wasting your money and peeing out vitamins, why are you taking something with 2,000 to 4,000% the daily value? Absolutely insane. Your body will never absorb that, and no prenatals have that insane amounts of any kind of nutrient in them, because that would be a waste, and because your body couldn't use those nutrients properly. This is making her look so silly. She's demonizing prenatals because she thinks they're a waste and you're just going to pee them out. But does she really think that her body is going to absorb 4,000% the daily value of these vitamins? I cannot.
So I take that because, again, mood and energy, notice an immediate difference when I take it. And then 2 other things that I take kind of in conjunction for myself. And let me just say again, like, you have to figure out what works best for you. You might find a couple of other supplements work better for you. I also take Sulfurzyme. This is great for just connective tissues. And so, I mean, anything to help support your connective tissues between you and baby, like get this in your body, mix it with your Ningxia. I switched to the powder like a year ago and I'm never turning back because it tastes so yummy. And then I also, this pregnancy, added mineral essence. And the reason I started taking it was because I learned that most people are very deficient in minerals, and this can be a huge reason for a lot of different ailments in your life. But specifically what pushed me over to the edge to try this is it has magnesium, and I was really struggling to sleep this last pregnancy and my normal things did not work. So I add this. I actually do a shot of this. I cannot do it in my Ningxia. I don't like how it tastes, but I do a shot morning and night. And I love that. So another thing for pregnancy is sleep. And that is something I struggled with. And I, like, disclaimer, every pregnancy is different. So like this last pregnancy, mineral essence helped me and nothing else did. But my previous pregnancy, the number one thing that helped me was the CBD drops. And I know that some people may or may not feel comfortable with that, but I took the CBD drops every single night for the entirety of my pregnancy. And it was the only thing that helped me to sleep. And I did the mint ones. And then a couple of oils that I love diffusing are during pregnancy specifically, because they're like powerhouse sleep oils, are Roman chamomile, cedarwood, and dreamcatcher. Not necessarily together, but like if you need to be knocked out, get those in your diffusers.
She's suggesting that you use Young Living CBD products to help you sleep in your pregnancy. And she's reporting that she used the CBD drops every day. It is my responsibility to tell you that the FDA strongly advises that you do not use CBD products while you are pregnant or breastfeeding. Mainly because there's no comprehensive research done on the kind of effect that this has on a developing fetus, but there has been evidence that high doses of CBD in pregnant test animals has caused problems with the reproductive system of developing male fetuses. So it's just one of those things where it's like, we don't know the risk, we don't know the harm, we don't know what this is going to do, so just don't do it, just don't risk it. And I find it very interesting that this woman seems to be very skeptical about prenatal vitamins, which are known and very well researched to be beneficial, but yet she is open to the idea of using CBD products and therefore recommending it to other people on a Zoom call, even though the impacts are unknown. Consider the source, remember the motive. Why would a healthcare professional be recommending that you take prenatal vitamins? Maybe because there's research and evidence that they're beneficial. Why would a Young Living rep be sitting on a Zoom call recommending that you don't take prenatals and you take Young Living products instead? Because she has a financial motive. She's pitching it, she's selling it, she wants you to buy it for her own financial gain.
And then for emotions during pregnancy, and again, these are going to play, you'll see these again in the postpartum section, but my ride or dies are valor, just trust on this one, valor, just constantly all over my face, not my face, but my chest, wrist, everything. I'm dousing in myself all day. I also struggle with postpartum depression. That's part of my story. So for me, even being proactive during pregnancy is super important for me. And my number one oil for that is Joy. This oil is very special to me. I love it so much, and I actually crave it. I roll it over my chest every single day. And the cool thing about this oil is that, first of all, grief in particular is stored in your adenoid glands. And this oil is meant to help release grief, which is, again, a lot of what depression kind of stems from and some of those feelings that you're going to experience. So Joy and Valor. And then Peace and Calming is another one that I roll all over during pregnancy.
So apparently, if you're experiencing postpartum depression, all you need is joy. Just douse yourself in joy and all your grief will be released. I have no words for that. If you are experiencing postpartum depression, please reach out to a professional, talk to your doctor, get a referral to a mental health professional, get some counseling, get some therapy, be put on medication if that's what you need. Do not let a Young Living hun try and sell you on a $50 essential oil because she's advertising that it's going to help you with your postpartum depression. That statement in itself is incredibly predatory. Postpartum depression is a huge vulnerability for so many new moms, and what she's doing by pitching an oil to help is she's preying on that vulnerability. She's trying to tap into those people who are struggling with something, who are looking for a quick fix. Calling your doctor, getting into therapy, getting on medication, that's not a quick fix. That's what's proven to help, that's what's going to probably help you out the most, but that requires a lot of time and energy, and it's a lot easier to just add joy to your cart and buy into the false hope that that's going to give you the relief you need. I personally think oils can be great for aromatherapy to help promote or soothe certain emotional responses, and it might be true that this Joy oil, I've never smelled it before, it might be true that it smells pretty nice and it could give you a little bit of an uplifting spirit, but that's not a solution, that's not a treatment, and that's not going to get to the root cause of the issue. But again, the purpose of this call, pitch the product, make a sale. That's the end goal here, not really if you actually get the help you need for your postpartum depression.
And then the last thing for pregnancy before I move on to labor is Clariderm. Okay. Like if you get nothing else, Ningxia and Clariderm, like just go add those to your cart right now. This spray is specifically meant to help your skin in your lady area, to help you just prepare for childbirth, because we all know what's about to come out of there. So why not prepare in whatever way possible? This truly helped me prevent tearing in my second birth. Did not tear 1 ounce. I had a 2nd degree tear with my first, absolutely nothing with my second. And the only difference there was Clariderm. I did have a minor tear with my 3rd child and sprayed this on consistently. And within 2 weeks, it was healed. This, I can't speak highly enough of this. It has healing oils in there that are really meant to help heal your skin, regenerate skin, get blood flowing back into the area. So super, super helpful.
I find it very hard to believe that there's anything you could apply topically that would prevent tearing during childbirth. According to the Mayo Clinic, there are 4 ways that research has suggested may help to prevent tearing. None of them have anything to do with any kind of product being applied topically. And her personal testimony is kind of whack too. She was like, I tore with the first, but not with the second, all thanks to Clariderm. Or it could be that your body's already gone through this once before. Your baby could have been at a different angle. Your baby could have been a different size. There are lots of reasons why a woman may tear one time and not the other that has nothing to do with Clariderm. But then she goes on to say that she had a 3rd birth and she did tear with that even though she used Clariderm. So she can't say that Clariderm prevented a tear, but now she's trying to say that it helped her heal in just 2 weeks. A quick search on Google tells me that tears typically heal within 7 to 10 days on their own anyway, Clariderm or not. So personally, I feel like she didn't sell us very well on that product, but even still, Clariderm is described as a $75 cooling mist, okay? A cooling mist on the Young Living website. You know what's tried and true and sworn by every mother I've ever known? Dermaplast. It's $7 at your local drugstore. It's also a cooling spray, but it also has a numbing agent to help you manage the pain as well. So if you are in the market for a cooling spray after birth, lots of moms love this super affordable option, and you do not need to go to Young Living and buy a $75 spray to get that kind of relief.
Okay, moving on. I'm not looking at the comments, FYI, so sorry if you're asking me anything. Gonna move on to labor and delivery. So we're just going to jump in. So pain management, obviously contractions are just like inevitable, especially if you are going to be doing an unmedicated birth. Number one, first and foremost, you need to work on your mindset and breathing low, but this is not a birth class. I just needed to put that out there. Those 2 things, like look those up. But as far as pain management goes, there's a couple things. I use the CBD Muscle Rub. This stuff is actually straight magic. I would rub this on my belly. You probably saw it if you saw the reel that Steph Scott made. I was rubbing that on my belly during labor, and I layered it with Panaway oil, which has some anti-inflammatory muscle or oils in there that are really just it's going to give you like that icy feeling that truly helps just like remove any barriers you have to pain. You can do that on your back or your belly, wherever you're getting those contractions. I didn't bring my peppermint, but this is actually a must. Like, you have to have peppermint during labor. I threw up during all 3 of my pregnancies, or I got super nauseous. So what I would do is I would just open the bottle and just huff it and have the bottle like right near me and have deep breaths. So highly recommend having that on hand. And then I would just be diffusing emotional support oils during labor. Again, the biggest thing for me as far as having a natural labor goes is specifically getting your mind right. And a huge part of that is aromatherapy, because those oils are scientifically shown to help you relax your body, stay calm. So just like be pumping those lavender, frankincense, white angelica, anything to just keep you calm.
I don't hate that suggestion. I do think that oils can be extremely useful in aromatherapy. I like the way she phrased it, emotional support oils, okay? If there's an oil that you love that's gonna make you feel calm and comforted, go for it. I also second the peppermint oil for nausea suggestion. That also has really worked for me in the past, but I'm of the belief that oils can be good for aromatherapy, and that's kind of where the benefits end. That's kind of where my trust in them ends, I should say. And what she's saying right here as far as using oils for aromatherapy in labor, that's kind of the only suggestion on this call I feel like I can get behind. And in saying that, you can buy essential oils from anywhere. If you think that you would like to be smelling certain scents while you're in labor, you can gain access to those very easily, very affordably, without going through a Young Living rep.
And then I also, again, had home births. So I don't know what a hospital would allow you to drink or eat, but I had Ningxia throughout my entire labor with some electrolyte drops to help me stay hydrated. And this actually was so helpful. I felt very, very hydrated. I felt energized, like focused. I mean, I can't tell you enough about Ningxia. Like, just get it. just get it. Okay, and then immediate postpartum, I'm going to share a couple. Like I said, I do struggle with postpartum depression, so it's important for me to get on top of that ASAP. And some of my biggest tools are oils. Like I said, Joy, which releases grief, And then I personally start using Progestins Plus. I actually personally use it throughout my whole pregnancy because I noticed such a huge difference in my mood, but you don't need to. Totally personal preference, but this is an absolute must for postpartum, especially if you're dealing with mood swings, your hormones are out of whack. It has natural progesterone in it. And I just roll it on my forearms morning and night, and it helps a ton. Endoflex, just to help get my thyroid back in balance as well. And then, like I said, Joy is huge for me. You know what I'm going to say next. Ningxia. This will help restore some of the iron that you've lost through just like giving birth and losing blood. So get this. Actually, my midwife said that to me herself. She was like, make sure you're drinking Ningxia to get some of the antioxidants back in your body. I was like, you do not have to tell me twice.
Ningxia doesn't contain iron. We already covered that. So no, you wouldn't drink Ningxia to replenish your iron. Nice try, false, debunked. And that just makes you wonder, what other kind of misinformation is she spewing on this call, right? She just said that Ningxia is a great source of iron, which is factually false, and you can disprove that in 30 seconds by going to look at the nutrition label on the website. So what else is she giving false information about? That's the scary thing about these MLM training calls, is that these women can say whatever they want. There is nobody there to fact check them. There is nobody there to correct them. And now you can see how so unbelievably easy it is for misinformation to be spread on these calls. How many people out there do you think are just going to take her word for it that I should be drinking Ningxia after I give birth to replenish my iron levels? My guess is that very few people actually will take the time to fact check her on that, and they might just go along with it because that's what she said to do. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter to the people hosting these calls, does it? Who cares if the information is factual or not? What matters is if you were able to sell the listener on why they need to buy Ningxia. And if you did that, your job is done.
And then, like I said, brain fog, like this stuff, I mean, especially in the newborn days, like you are going to want something that's going to help you stay focused and alert, especially if you have multiple kids. Just get this in your body. And I also, if you struggle with hair loss postpartum, this and Sulfurzyme are going to be your best friends. As far as healing in your downstairs area, like I said, Clariderm. But one thing that I did this pregnancy or this postpartum that I didn't with the other is I used geranium oil. And what I did, and I couldn't find my perennial bottle, but it's just like a little spray bottle that you can spray down there. And so I would literally put 5 drops of geranium, fill it with warm water, shake it. I would spray to just cleanse after going to the bathroom. And then I would follow it with Clariderm. It's just the best. Okay. It's just the best. You can do that anytime. You can do that now if you want. But geranium is antibacterial, and it's also going to help just restore blood flow. It's going to help just like bring all your skin back together, all that good stuff. So that's an MVP that you also want to have. And also Clariderm will help you with hemorrhoids. If you struggled with that postpartum, you can just spray it right on. And if you're struggling with constipation, I know some people use Comfort Tone. I never did. I put a couple of drops of peppermint just straight in the toilet. And that just, for whatever reason, just opened things right up. And I was able to go to the bathroom. And then 2 last things before I pass it back to Courtney is, and I know these are not like mom related, but I just have to mention them. I just couldn't not. So number 1, get you Thieves laundry detergent. I just have to say the number 1 recommended baby detergent is actually horrible for your children. Please do not buy it. Get you some Thieves or something unscented. Absolutely get you some Thieves. And then on the line of Thieves, if you're struggling with postpartum stink, because you will, and you're super sweaty, my go-to deodorant for postpartum is the Thieves Aroma Bright toothpaste. For whatever reason, I do not know why it works, but it works so well. Even if you have to apply a couple times a day, it's like minty and fresh, and you're going to be thanking me later. So, all right. I hope you guys kept up with that. Thank you for letting me share. I'm going to pass it on to to Courtney.
I'll be honest, throughout that last bit, I just heard wah, 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 because she's lost credibility in my eyes. How are we to know if what she's recommending is actually true? How are we to know if there's any evidence to back up any of those claims? If you want to look into those last little products and see if there's any validity to what she's saying, be my guest, go for it. I don't have the time or energy for that. She thinks that Ningxia has iron, and she recommends that women don't take prenatals. Okay, that's all I need to know. But she did kind of catch my attention there at the end when she started fear-mongering around baby detergent. She said the leading baby detergent out there is terrible for your kids, but Thieves isn't. Perfect example of fear-mongering, saying other products out there are bad and dangerous, and if you want your kids to be healthy and safe, you need to use Young Living products. And then she threw in that she uses toothpaste as deodorant. I don't have any words for that. You do you, girl, but I don't know why we can't just use deodorant as deodorant. I don't know why we have to use toothpaste as deodorant, but I digress.
Thank you so much, Megan. So good. So many good tips there. And just that is such a good, just kind of basic run through of the things that are going to help you so much. And there's something about just knowing that you have all those things on hand, that you have a toolbox. I feel like that in today's world, it can be really easy to feel like everything's being taken out of your hands with pregnancy and birth. And it's sort of like, hey, you're about to do something really scary that's almost like a sickness, and you're going to get through it and recover from it, probably traumatically. So just do the best you can and we'll see how it goes. But I mean, maybe you guys feel differently, but I feel like so often mamas aren't armed with anything. And so they're just kind of always going, what's next? What should I expect? And then receiving very, very little explanation for anything. And that's how I really felt with my first. So my first, I had in a hospital, I had a good experience. Nothing was horrible. My blood pressure got really high at the end. We induced, the labor went well. It was like 7 hours. I had an epidural because I was on Pitocin. And I mean, can I get an amen? Did Satan make Pitocin? Y'all, it hurts so bad. And if that is the only way you have birthed, can I just speak into you that is not what it feels like when you don't have Pitocin? Because I straight up had my doctor tell me that it was the same. She was like, it makes no difference. A contraction is a contraction. So if you're on Pitocin, it's no different. That was lies. Total lies, just so you know. So if you have only had birth with Pitocin, I just want to speak that because I wish somebody else, I could have understood that. It is so different than that when you are laboring and progressing without that. So just some hope for you if maybe that's something that you have experienced and are looking for something different in the future. And also, I just want to speak that into you as a little bit of if you've had Pitocin births and you look at moms that have had unmedicated births and you think, man, I'm just like really weak or really something because I can't imagine doing that. I just want to say to you, no, baby, no, that is not what they did. So, yes, there are mamas that have done unmedicated Pitocin births, and my hat is off to them. I had like a 5-minute solid contraction when they cranked that thing up and was like, okay, go ahead, give me what I need. And I didn't realize that I was so close to having the baby. So, anyway, just wanted to kind of share that with you. And so I went and did that. But the thing, like I said, there wasn't anything horrible. It wasn't anything out of the normal. I'm sure my doctor was good. I just felt at every turn that I just wished I knew more, understood more, and that more was in my hands. And so that is something I have continued to look for through the births of my progressively later babies.
I do understand that some women want to, as she said, know more, have more, do more when it comes to their level of control and knowledge over this experience and knowing what to expect and preparing for that. But what exactly does that have to do with Young Living specifically? There are are endless resources out there that can help you prepare for birth, mentally and physically, that don't require you to go out there and buy a stockpile of Young Living products. There are books, there are classes, you can hire a doula, you can have a midwife, you can attend seminars online, you can talk to your OBGYN and have a list of questions ready to go when you go into your appointment. I am fully in support of educating yourself, preparing yourself, knowing what to expect, being able to advocate for yourself, but that's not really the point in her bringing it up here, I feel like. I feel like she's trying to, again, instill this fear that it's going to be this really big traumatic event and that you want to have a toolkit of all these products as a way to make yourself feel more prepared. And I think it's just important to reiterate that point here, that the purpose of this call is to sell a product. But personally, I have yet to hear one suggestion on this call that I feel is worth spending money on. At least spending my money on Young Living specifically. All we've really heard so far is to swap out your prenatals for thousands of dollars of Young Living supplements that don't have any of the required nutrients, by the way. Use CBD products even though it's not recommended by the FDA, and to sniff some oils and to rub them all over your body. I am of the belief that there are so many other routes that you can take out there that are more productive as far as preparing yourself for birth and expanding your toolkit that do not require you to support any MLM company of any kind. And it's kind of making me think about the fact that Young Living in itself, they're not like a pregnancy, postpartum, birth company, but a call like this, a call as far as taking the oils and applying it to this very specific situation, this is a way that reps from the company try to add value to their products. They try to make them relevant to a variety of different situations. Hence the reason they have an entire call on this one topic of pregnancy and postpartum. But these are not pregnancy and postpartum products. All that's really happening here is they're taking the product that their MLM company sells and they're trying to apply it to as many different circumstances as possible to try and create that value for as many people as possible. Just something to keep in mind as we listen to specifically essential oil MLM calls like Young Living or doTERRA. You're not going to make many sales if you say, oh, well, sniffing this oil makes me feel good. Odds are you're going to make a lot more sales if you can say, hey, putting this oil on my belly made my contractions stronger. Spraying myself with this mist helped my tear heal faster. Taking these CBD drops helped me sleep better. What they're doing is they're taking these common pregnancy and postpartum woes and they are applying their existing products as the solution to those problems. Because at the end of the day, the more ways you can describe how to use a particular oil for a variety of different people and circumstances, the more likely you are to make that sale.
If you are trying to get pregnant, let me just say you are at such a key moment to impact your entire pregnancy right now. I have been there where I have been waiting for a baby and it's such a roller coaster. I have taken, I don't know how many negative tests. I have been on that journey of going in there and hoping and seeing one line again and just not being able to figure out what's going on. And so I understand where that comes from. Can I tell you down the road, looking back, after things that I experienced in my health after my second and third child, if I were to do that again today, I would view that waiting period so differently because I would see it as my chance to get my body where I wanted it to be before I got pregnant. And as disappointed as I would be every month, I would also view that as one more month to do the things that my body needed so that it was even more primed for carrying a baby. I would just view it with a different level, I think, of purpose than I probably did at that point. So I just want to encourage you, if you're in that waiting season, that this is just such an amazing time for you. I have been, since that I finally got that positive, I have been pregnant or nursing pretty much ever since for the last 18 years. And it does somewhat impact some of the things that you do or how much of it you do or your fasting abilities or your, so many other things like that. So man, go in and go see a functional doctor, a holistic doctor, get blood work done, see what you need to work on, cleanse, We have an amazing thing called the cleansing trio that works on your gut. And you guys, I can't tell you, people ask us for hormonal products when they want to get pregnant. I have seen so many mamas get pregnant after doing the cleansing trio and cleansing out their colon, because their body's getting rid of all these things, these toxins and things that it's holding on to that are causing problems hormonally, or working on supporting their liver, because your liver being not functioning well is a major root of all hormonal imbalance. I just utilize this time to drink your red, to eat good foods, to do the things that make your body healthy and strong, because it does have a lot that's about to come at it. And I'm just believing with you that that is coming. And so just get excited about all your preparation time.
We cannot gloss over the fact that she is pitching their cleansing trio as a way to get pregnant. She didn't say it in those blunt terms, but she may as well have, and that's very unethical in my opinion. I can get behind the recommendation of getting blood work done, seeing if there's anything going on that maybe you could treat or support with the help of a healthcare professional in preparation to get pregnant. Okay, great, fine. But making statements like, quote, "I have seen so many mamas get pregnant after doing the cleansing trio," that, in my opinion, is a completely unethical and unfounded statement to make. That's a great example of preying on somebody's vulnerabilities. She did it in a really kind, sweet, and gentle way, but she still suggested that if you are struggling to get pregnant, maybe you should try out our cleansing trio. Maybe you should buy a $100 pack of pills and cleanse yourself. And it's statements like that that serve to remind us the whole purpose of this call again. Identify the vulnerabilities of the listener, in this case, infertility, pitch them a quick fix with a product they can buy today, and make some money off of those vulnerabilities. She seems like a lovely woman with good intentions, but even lovely women with good intentions can engage in predatory behaviors, knowingly or unknowingly.
Start taking those things that Megan was talking about. The mineral essence, the Super B, the Ningxia Master Formula is our multivitamin. That is what I have used prenatal wise. So prenatal vitamins tend to be very high in iron, because at some point they decided that pregnant women didn't have enough iron and started giving it to them in the form of folic acid, which may have actually caused a lot of problems to us and to our babies. That's all been discovered over the years.
Excuse me, what? Cite some sources, please. First of all, she just said that iron is given to pregnant women in the form of folic acid. Ma'am. Folic acid is a B vitamin, and iron is a mineral. They are two completely different things, and believe it or not, both incredibly important for pregnancy. Personally, I'm going to choose to listen to the recommendations of the World Health Organization, the CDC, the Mayo Clinic, my OB, pretty much every OB ever, who all say that you need these certain vitamins and minerals to support a healthy pregnancy, including iron and folic acid. And I'm going to choose not to listen to a young living hun on a Zoom call who doesn't even know the difference between folic acid and iron and isn't telling us where she's getting her information from. She's phrasing it like the ominous they decided one day that we don't have enough iron. Oh, you mean professionals who have conducted studies and done research and proven the important impacts on taking these vitamins and minerals during pregnancy? Again, it's slight, it's an undertone, it's the phrasing, but it's the fear-mongering that's interwoven into these entire calls, that they, whatever they are just out to get us and they want us to buy their bad products, but we know the truth. And here at Young Living, we have the best products for you. Even though we have no research to support it, it's kind of sketchy. Very sketchy, actually.
They're also incredibly constipating. So a lot of the constipation that women associate with being pregnant is the result of multivitamins of their prenatal. A lot of the nausea is associated with the prenatal. So it is a vicious cycle. The iron's hard on your stomach. It's hard on your bowels. It's hard on everything. And so the crazy thing is that a lot of us actually are not deficient in iron. We actually get it from our foods and things. We're just not doing anything with it. And so there are things our body needs in order to utilize the iron, and it's still not getting those when we're pumping it full of folic acid. So it's important that we're doing those things. Super B is one of those things that can help your body to actually do what it needs to. Ningxia is one of those things. Mineral Essence is one of those things. Another product that we have is multigreens. You guys, I have seen people with literal miracle stories in terms of iron levels and problems like that took multigreens and had the building blocks their body needed for what was missing and totally changed everything. So just that is something to really be considered. And again, if you're working on those things prior to pregnancy, then that helps. Obviously, there are many diet things that you can do as well. And that would, obviously, we would have no time to go into all of that, but many diet things that can be good sources of iron as well. Again, if your body is able to utilize them. So make sure that you have the things you need to utilize those, or you can take it in and still not be using it.
Is anyone tracking what she's saying? Maybe there's some validity in there. I don't know. I'm not quick to believe that, but she's being so vague and non-specific and not using any real terminology. All she's saying is like, we might be deficient, but our bodies need special things to help process the iron. And if you don't have those special things, then you can't use it. But our Young Living supplements have the special things. Maybe that's true. I don't know. I don't have the energy or the desire to look that up right now, but it's clear that she's kind of building this strange case as to why women shouldn't take iron supplements while pregnant. And let me tell you that the reason pregnant women need twice as much iron is because your body is creating more blood to supply oxygen to the baby you're growing. Your blood volume increases up to 50% when you're pregnant. Your baby also needs iron to make their own blood. Blood, oxygen, these are kind of big important deals, are they not? And it is true that some of the known side effects of iron are upset stomach, nausea, constipation, but that doesn't mean that it's not an important mineral that your body needs during this time. Again, with the tone of this ominous, they are out to get us because they want us to take iron supplements when it really wrecks our digestive systems, but I know the truth that it's bad for you, and listen to me and buy my products instead. Again, a pretty common dynamic within MLM companies to instill fear into people as a way to try and manipulate them into buying things that they don't really need. Is there some truth to what she's saying, that there are certain things that you can take to help your body process iron better and more comfortably? Maybe. But again, that's something I'm going to take up with my own healthcare team. And if there's concerns that arise for me specifically based on my labs and blood work, then we'll go from there. But it's baffling to me time and time again that we sit on these calls and the people hosting them kind of have this air of like, I know best and I know the truth and I know the secrets and you should just listen to me. Even if there's legit, hardcore evidence out there from reputable health organizations to support that there are certain nutrients that pregnant women need to support the developing, brand new human body growing inside of them, and it's shocking to see MLM reps try and push back against this and spread misinformation and say whatever the hell they want to for their own financial gain at the end of the day.
So that's kind of the preparatory work. We have a product called Progestins Plus. Can we just for a minute, can we just say how much we love it? Can y'all just in the comments, friend, if you've not had Progestins Plus, meet the love of our lives. It is our progesterone boosting serum that has just been a gift to many a woman. I wish this would be the most amazing thing. So I've been sharing the oils for 9 years, and I would give so much if I could collect photos of all the babies that I have seen people become pregnant with after they started using Progestins Plus, people that have been trying to get pregnant. If I had a photo album with all of those babies in it, it would be the most precious thing in all the world, because we call them our little Progestins babies. Women of all ages, all prior experiences, all of the things. And it's such a powerful thing. I can tell you, obviously, this is just kind of correlation, and I can't prove that there's any causation here, but all of my 5 miscarriages, they were interspersed with healthy pregnancies. I had a miscarriage, a baby, 2 miscarriages, a baby, 2 miscarriages, a baby. So they were interspersed without a lot of explanation. And doctors, they tell you that you have to have 3 miscarriages in a row before they'll look at it. And I never had 3 in a row. Isn't that just kind of a crazy thing? So anyway, I had all the 5 before I started using progestins, and I have not had one since. Again, that is not a study on if progestins did that. And obviously many women have used progestins and still lost babies. I am not saying that that won't happen. I'm saying that something shifted in my body where I could tell I was just struggling to hold those. Even one of the pregnancies that I kept, I bled super, super hard at the beginning of it and thought I was going to lose him, just so many things like that. And I had been on progesterone creams, and all of that just didn't seem to work the same way. A lot of what they give you progesterone wise is not very useful in your body. And so that is, we think it's helping, but it's not. And so the way that Progestins Plus works, again, that could be a whole other class, but it is very usable by the body, just like the Ningxia, just like the multigrains and the other things. And so people tend to get a lot of results with that. Synthetic progesterone just doesn't cut it.
You would think that at this point I wouldn't be shocked, but she continually outdoes herself with the health claims. The product she's talking about is called Progestins Plus by Young Living, and it's described as being, quote, designed specifically for women and made with natural, bioidentical progesterone from wild yam to promote well-being and feelings of relaxation, harmony, and balance. The website, of course, says nothing about preventing miscarriages by using Progestins Plus, but that's where she's taking it here. So I did a little bit of Googling on topical progesterone. It is a thing. It's described as a type of hormone replacement therapy, and you can buy progesterone creams over the counter. Most commonly, progesterone creams are used as a treatment to reduce the unpleasant symptoms of menopause, but as it applies to the topic of pregnancy, women of childbearing age, progesterone is a very important hormone to have because it prepares the body for pregnancy every cycle, and it supports the early stages of a new pregnancy. And it is true that lower levels of progesterone are linked to a higher rate of miscarriage. That is a fact. And it's also true that sometimes progesterone treatment or hormone replacement therapy can be used under the guidance of a healthcare professional to support an early pregnancy with the goal of preventing a miscarriage. But according to the March of Dimes, progesterone is typically either administered via a vaginal suppository or through a shot, not through a serum that you put on topically, which is how the Young Living product and progesterone creams are used. I kind of went down a little bit of a rabbit hole here, and something to keep in mind is that studies show that progesterone supplements do not help prevent miscarriage in the average pregnancy. So if you are an average woman with typical health, using progesterone won't prevent a miscarriage that will inevitably happen. But there is, however, evidence to support that if you got pregnant through assisted technologies like IVF, or if you are someone who suffers from chronic miscarriages, as she mentioned, 3 in a row is kind of the benchmark, there is evidence to support that progesterone therapy may be helpful for those women. According to the Mayo Clinic, 10 to 20% of known pregnancies will end in a miscarriage. And yes, that is a shockingly high and scary statistic. And I want to be sensitive to the fact that just because they are so common does not make them any less emotionally heartbreaking and painful to go through. But just for the purpose of this discussion, I want to point out that up to 1 in 5 pregnancies aren't viable, and that has absolutely nothing to do with the person carrying that pregnancy. And that is not a reflection of what that person did or did not do. If you really think about it, there's so many intricate and delicate, teeny tiny pieces that have to fit together so perfectly to have a viable pregnancy and a healthy baby, it's truly remarkable. And sometimes, for whatever reason that's out of our control, those pieces just don't fit together right. Sometimes there's just an error in the genetic makeup and the embryo can't continue to develop normally and the pregnancy has to end because it's not viable. And again, this has nothing to do with the mother's health, and there is absolutely nothing to be done to prevent it. So knowing all of that, it's understandable why healthcare professionals are hesitant to just hand out hormone replacement therapies to anyone who's ever had a miscarriage, because the research supports that miscarriages in healthy women are still relatively common, and there's also research to support that doing hormone replacement therapy in the average healthy woman isn't going to make a difference anyway. Using progesterone treatment early on in pregnancy to support that pregnancy likely is only going to help if there is evidence of infertility issues previously. And even still, even if they do go the progesterone therapy route, they're going to give it to you in a shot or a suppository, not in a cream that you put on your body. So it's frustrating to me that she's sitting on this Zoom call and she's pitching Young Living Progessence Plus serum as a quick fix to avoid miscarriages. She didn't say it outright, but you know that's the point she's getting at. And again, incredibly predatory towards women who have suffered through miscarriages in the past or who are struggling to conceive to begin with. There's already a level of guilt and grief that a woman goes through when she's experiencing reproductive challenges, and here she is sitting on the Zoom call being like, I haven't had any miscarriages since I used Progessence Plus. That's sending the message to the listener that there's something they could have done. Maybe they could have prevented their miscarriage if they just used Progessence Plus. And that's infuriating because it's just not true. And I'm sure as a listener, that's only adding to your sense of guilt and grief that you're experiencing to think, oh, I could have prevented it if I had just bought this product sooner. I'm thoroughly disgusted that this topic even came up in this call and that she would even begin to slightly suggest that one of their products has the power to do such a thing. But at the end of the day, not the least bit surprised. Say what you have to say to sell a product, right?
So, that is something that most women need. Obviously, never are 100% of women the same, but most women are low in progesterone. You will definitely find those who are not. So if you don't find yourself feeling better, if you don't find yourself with that giving you good results, again, ideally, blood work with a functional doctor is ideal when you're trying to get pregnant to try to really look at things. I personally, this is me personal, I am not giving an official recommendation of any kind, use progessence all through my pregnancy. Some people wean off of it in the first trimester after the first trimester, because the thought is that your body really accelerates in producing it and you have plenty as the placenta kicks in and does its thing and all of that. I initially weaned off of it with my 6th pregnancy, and I felt horrible. I went from being stable and feeling really good and all of those things, and just felt horrible again. And I thought, my body is telling me something different. And so with the next one, I just stayed on it. And then I get lower at the end. I lower my dosage to just allow the body to kind of lessen the progesterone as it's preparing for labor. And then to finish kind of its work of cleaning out the uterus. And then I get back on it afterwards. But I go ahead and use it throughout, and I have felt a tremendous difference in those pregnancies. That is a very personal decision, one that I make, and what has worked for me. Most people will tell you to wean off of your progesterone after your first trimester. My theory and my naturopath sister's theory is, if we are as deficient in progesterone as we are as a society, what makes us think that even it going up means that it's now where it's supposed to be. And so we probably, may or may not be getting what we need.
I appreciate in this section that she's at least being very clear and acknowledging, like, I'm not a professional. Here's my personal advice. Here's my personal experience. Take it or leave it. Okay. I think that's the way that all of these calls should be structured, pretty much saying that in front of every single claim you're going to make. But that's kind of the biggest takeaway from any Zoom call ever from an MLM company, is that very infrequently are actual facts given. It's all personal testimony. It's all in my experience, or here's what I did, or here's what I found. And they never cite sources. They never reference research. They are almost never qualified to be making the claims they're making. And in some cases, they actually give out false information, as we've seen a couple times already on this call. So I'm glad that she's admitting that she's not a professional, but I just wanted to put it out there that personal testimony is not fact. And I become even more skeptical of someone's personal testimony when you consider that the person who is sharing that testimony and sharing their experience is within an MLM company and they have a product to sell and they have money to make. Hearing women share their experiences on MLM Zoom calls should always be taken with a grain of salt and absolutely never considered to be factual information. But the odds are, if you're watching this video, you already know that. You don't need me to tell you that, but I'm just putting it out there for good measure. Okay, here's the deal. We are 35 minutes into this Zoom call and there are 40 minutes left. And I'm tired. I'm over it. I don't usually cut the call short like this, but I did watch the last 40 minutes of it on my own. And it's essentially this woman just sharing each and every birth experience she's ever had. And she's suggesting a lot of the same products that the first woman did. So we hear Ningxia come up like 10 more times. She tells you again to use the oils to prevent postpartum depression. She again recommends using the oils topically to help your body kind of restore after birth. She recommends sniffing the oils as a way to speed up labor, and I feel like we just kind of get the point by now. Nothing new came up in the second half of this call that's worth putting out there and worth sharing, so I'm not going to put us through the torture of watching it. But in conclusion, some of the insane things that were recommended in this call were: take Young Living supplements instead of your prenatal, use Young Living CBD products even though the FDA strongly recommends against using CBD because there's no research done on it, sniff oils to help you with your postpartum depression, Young Living products can help you prevent tearing, the cleansing trio helps you get pregnant, the progescent serum helps prevent miscarriages. Solid. That is all I need to know, okay? This is just such a hefty and sensitive topic. And they really went in and covered all their bases as to all the concerns that people will have surrounding this topic, and they tried to suggest that their products are the solution in one way or another. Not surprising to me at all, but still fascinating to watch. And on that note, I really don't feel like there's much more I have to say. I would love to hear what you thought about this call in the comments down below. I'm sure there will be some outrage happening down there, which I don't blame you for. But yeah, on that note, I am gonna go eat a solid, healthy, balanced lunch, and it's about time for me to take my prenatal. So if you're out there and you're watching this and you're also in this time of your life where you're either pregnant or you're postpartum or you're trying to get pregnant, I just want to offer my words of encouragement that when it all comes down to it, listen to the professionals in your life, trust yourself, do your own research on the internet if you wish, but also try to protect yourself from the fear mongering that is so often targeted at pregnant women. You have more than enough to worry about. There is more than enough going on in your body right now. Just please trust that you are doing what is best for yourself and for your baby. Take some deep breaths, go take a nap, kick your feet up, rest, relax, take some deep breaths. It's all gonna be okay, and do not let any MLM hun out there try to convince you that you need their special product in order to have a healthy pregnancy and healthy baby. And with that, my friends, it's all I have for you for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you in my next one real soon.